Good morning. Great morning. Wow. What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, getting ready here for our live session together. If you're just joining us for the first time, it is good that you are here. I am so glad that you are here. Welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. Bitcoin trading at $54,975, unchanged on the session. Haven't already gone ahead and read. Jordan, could you focus on the technicals? Have you watched what we've done over the last 2 months as Bitcoin has been sideways? Absolutely exemplary. In this episode here, we have episode 3, season 1. What I think we're going to do, just so everyone's paying attention, so everyone's following along over here, what I think we're going to do is the first episode is going to be this next run we have. The next run that we have right now, this melt your face off, rip your face off move, is going to be season 1. We'll be having the final episode somewhere around over there as we prepare then for the next section, right? This is where we're focused on over here. We're focused right now, the last half of the race over here, the Bitcoin bull market phase, making sure we're tracking each wave coming into the peak, getting out at that cycle peak. It's what we're doing. This meme this morning, I miss meme. Let's smash the like button if you missed the memes. But this meme here this morning is beautiful, right? Good morning, all. Ethereum. That's all. And it's beautiful. And it's absolutely beautiful over here. We see Ethereum, $2,700. New all-time highs this morning. Beautiful sight to behold in the markets today. There's talk out there that Bitcoin has lost its luster. There's talk out there that because people are chasing whatever it might be, that Bitcoin is going to come under further pressure. I don't know. We'll take a look at that later just for fun. Let's focus in on what we need to focus to make sure we stay laser focused on the most important trade that matters. We're going to take a look at a lot today. We got a nice, beautiful show prepared for us. I wanted to start over here. Did I really? Nah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. CTM on Twitter showing the fact that, listen, often we see in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, we see breakouts. In this case, we're seeing breakout, retest, resumption. It's uber healthy. It's uber healthy, and it is, and CTM remains all over it. Now, of course, just let's focus for a moment on the minute technicals over here. We'll make sure that we have the map we need in place, that we're able to go ahead and ride to the peak over here. We'll make sure everyone has that situational awareness that this was going to be a quick recovery, a V recovery as we're coming into there and the fears coming off, and then watching the repairs as they occur. But we haven't taken out the swing high yet. This is not yet a breakout, retest, resumption. It's in the process of trying to bounce and seeing if it resumes off. That means obviously one of two things is going to occur. Either we're going to break out above the swing high and we have the resumption, or we're going to come back down and test again over here into this trend line. That's still a possibility. Right now, we continue to consolidate. If you look ahead till Friday, just days away now, we have options expirations. Whether or not we're going to be able to put the next leg up before, I don't know. I'm just an observer watching what's happening. Always aware of where my risk is, though. That's for sure. And right now, that risk is to the upside. We talked about it as the pressure was coming down, that we said by next Friday, by the weekend, by Monday of next week, at that point, we're resuming up and we're coming up quickly. So we'll continue to monitor that, of course. Looking over here, the bull of all bulls, Family Randall, Ian, going ahead and just putting together this beautiful, beautiful piece of art for us over here. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, let's take a look at where we are. We're focused on this next wave over here. You can see right where this turns red, Ian has gone ahead and just put an average of the first and second cycle in blue to give, and that's what it's been so far, by the way. That's what it's been for so far. We've been, almost a perfect average between the first and second cycle, right? And by the way, if that continues, and over here, Ian has gone ahead and included this chart, the bottom left over here. It talks about the multiplier, the return from when price makes the new all-time high, right? This is, and you see in the first cycle, it was 39x. Second cycle, 17x. If it is an average this cycle over here of the two, and that remains we don't know that that's going to happen or not, that would be a 28x. That puts Bitcoin, by the way, at 555,000. That's a 10x from where price currently is. Remember, Bitcoin at 55,000. I'm like, that's cheap Bitcoin, in my opinion. A lot of people making note of the last time I said Bitcoin was cheap was at 13,000. People were really concerned about picking up Bitcoin at 11,000, at 12,000. And I'm like, it's just cheap Bitcoin. It doesn't matter, And that's where we're at right now over here. It was as we were coming down over here, as Bitcoin came towards 55,000. I said, you know what? I think it's time to pick up the phone and give the family another chance and let them know that I think Bitcoin is cheap and probably trading under the coming cycle bear market low. Right around it. We'll see where that is, either which way. That's where we are. Beautiful chart over here. And now we're focused on this portion. Where my mouse is right now, on this current day, where we are today, coming into the next peak over there, that's what I want you all to be focused in on over here. That's this right over here. This is the whole move. I'm sorry. That's just from here to here. I have another chart of it I'm going to show you. Ian has it dated over here as June the 14th. You can see that is approximately the space we're looking at. We'll look at that a lot deeper together. We'll do it together in this week's training session, which I'm getting ready for. We're right here right now. We have not yet recovered the V to the all-time high. We're right here right now. This is set in 2017. Right where we were exactly. Do I have the halving tracker? It's easier if here's the halving tracker. Right? This is where we were in 2017, coming out of the V shape. And I just want to focus in on that really quick with you right now. And you can see this is where we are. We're focused on this next move. And making sure as we come towards the top of it, that we're following what resistance is there. Make sure that everyone stays on the right side. These next moves that we're looking at coming into the home stretch over here, over the next 5 months, are so important. You have to make sure we crush this wave. You have to make sure you crush this wave. And then over here for the final impulse up. And we'll take different looks at that. Look what Ian did over here. This is Ian using not the log scale, but the normal linear chart over here. And you get a really good look at the blow off top. That last 30 or 40 days or so, right? You get a really good look at how drastically price will increase during that last vertical, what do I call it? Blow off top. And it's drastic gains. And then also this comes from Ian. We're talking about finding the top over there, right? Finding the top. I have a beautiful chart I wanted to share with you. This one over here. This is the rocket ship. This is that last phase over here. This is the last. Happy Saint Day! Hi, happy Saint John Day! I love you.
Should I get you sleepy?
We're focused. We're focused on the top over here. Look, Ian points out over here beautifully. You could see that over here, it's my daughter's Saint Day. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful celebration over here, Saint Gianna. You're looking at this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This little dance will help us exit at the peak, at the very peak. We'll be looking in detail at prices in the 2013, 2017. We'll do that also in this week's Conquering the Market live session, making sure that we continue to be prepared. If you're new here and you haven't yet smashed the like button, or you're watching this on the replay, so glad you're with us. Show some love, help support the work over here. We don't get many views. We don't, but listen, we got a special thing going on here. Shh, we got a really special thing going on over here. All right, so looking over here, I want to focus on this block, focus on the equities. Jordan, I miss your work on the equities. I really do, right? S&P 500, new all-time highs. We got, let's hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry for your broken heart. I'm so sorry that the love is blinding to you, but we will keep you in our prayers. I want to share with you this analysis. This is from CNBC. All right, you got to listen to, I don't know who this lady, this technical strategist is, but you just got to give her a minute of your time. You have to listen to what she's saying, include on Bitcoin and on the equity markets. We're going to do it together really quick as we flow into the next portion of today's episode.
All right, we're going to do it. We're going to look technically at Bitcoin.
I'm not getting any volume, huh? We don't have the volume. We might have to forego that. Well, let me just tell you what she's talking about. It's not really that important. On CNBC, they have some guest, whoever this technical strategist is, and she's like, look, what just happened with Bitcoin? Well, it's going to come back down, and it's going to test 4,200 now. Well, is that a possibility? Could Bitcoin come back down and test 4,200? Of course. There's support down to 4,200. If we break down, back down out over here into the options, lose the line of repair that we just put in, are trying to confirm right now, lose the lower one and take out that low of 46,000, then yeah, 40. Is that likely? No, not even, absolutely not. The probability of that happening are really on the lower end, especially, we have the cheat sheet. We see the V shape that occurs. Do anomalies happen? Well, yeah, that's happened. You know what she says? She says, well, the reason that Bitcoin is going to come off this week, and she says this week, by the way, she's saying it's going to come off this week. Today's Wednesday, coming into Friday, the last bit of pressure off Bitcoin. Technically, it looks beautiful. I mean, I don't know. I would consider myself to be an expert technical analyst, and I'm looking at the same chart she's looking at, and I'm like, well, this looks, we've seen already 2 lines of repair. This looks absolutely uber bullish over here. Yeah, always aware of our risk, but calling here for, the equity markets this week to bring down the price of Bitcoin because of a risk-off move. Well, let's see. The last time we called for a potential risk-off move in equities, well, that was before the correction. That was over here, the video we put out March 17th, 18th, talking about the rising yield rates and how that could put pressure on the equity markets, and it did. We had some corrections, only a 5, 6, 7% on the S&P 500. It wasn't too much. It wasn't the 9% correction. This is a 3% correction. It wasn't the 9% correction we wanted on the S&P 500, but we had a 12% correction on equities. Yeah, 12% correction on equities. On the Nasdaq, right? And then since then, we said it was a question of when we're going to make the new all-time. But calling for a risk-off move right now, why? I don't see it. I don't. And if it happens, if for any reason we see some technical breakdowns occurring on the equity market, I'll focus your attention over there. As the appropriate time. But right now, when I say that equities remain uninterested, you're looking at them trading sideways, right? What has Bitcoin done this year, by the way? You're looking over, take a look at this chart over here. This is South Africa, okay? Priced in dollars, you could see in black over here, it's gone nowhere. It's doing nothing, for 10 years. But price that in its local currency, and the market is absolutely bonkers bullish. It's not just it's most emerging markets, if not all. Here's Mexico as well. You can see over here, when I say over here, I mean here in Mexico. You can see priced in dollars, the market hasn't gone anywhere. Price it in pesos, and it's taking off. But if you think that's exciting, and if you think that even those, 40% annual gains, if you're playing the South African stock market in their local currency, but when you compare that to the U.S. equity markets, obviously, the U.S. equity is all of a sudden unattractive. But when you compare this to Bitcoin, what this is for what reason? For what reason? 40% annual gains. What is Bitcoin putting up? 200% annual gains? You got to focus where you need to focus. And right now, that's not the equity markets. If we run into any issues that's occurring across the markets, we'll be there and we'll talk about it. We continue to track the dollar, right? But again, it's not going anywhere. It's just not in play right now where we need to focus our attention to it. Gold and silver holding their breakouts. It's like a slow train wreck, right? Let's move over. Let's focus on what's going on with the most important trade that matters. And the crypto markets right now looking beautiful. Again, if you're tracking Ethereum and you're looking for where you're going to exit Ethereum, defer to the Bitcoin playlist, the 4-year cycle, where we talk about where is the appropriate time and timing to exit Bitcoin. Focus on our CTM training sessions where we're looking at the altcoins at the top of the cycle and the last 3-week move that they put in and then how that ends. You have that laser sharp focus so you can enter the trade. Anyone who's holding Ethereum right now, and when I say Ethereum, Cardano, any other altcoin, you're not thinking about exiting. This trade is about Bitcoin, the rising tide that lifts all boats. The end of the bull market phase in altcoins is when Bitcoin's market comes to an end. That's why we're focused on Bitcoin. Yes, the alts peak out a couple weeks later. You got to have that expert technical analysis to be able to get out right on time, looking at the correct signals. Follow the work we're doing. As we're coming up to the top, we will be hyper focused in on that, as it will be the most important thing. But right now, if that continues to be your play, you are holding strong. This is why I went back to this chart, is because you're looking at the last half of the Bitcoin bull market. This is the rising tide that lifts all boats. This is what is sending altcoins. Jordan, I see opportunity out there, and great. Have fun. Just make sure you accomplish everything you need to accomplish. Listen, why I was focused in on that, right? You're not looking to exit Ethereum, right? You're not trying to put a number on Ethereum or whether or not that's going to be $20,000, $10,000, $7,000. Right? It's all in price discovery. We don't know. We have the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, which continues to play out with this precision, this uncanny precision, and you're able to continue, and we are able to calling out moves before they happen, sticking with them, leaning in at the appropriate times, making sure we stay on top of the bull all bulls, hyper focused on this last 3 impulses to the top over here. This is going to be the time for you to exit altcoins after we exit Bitcoin, and then we will work together setting up those exits on altcoins. But don't get caught up in all the hype. A lot of people thinking, what's going on with central banks? They're getting ready to back their CBDCs by gold, and then they're going to choose Ripple to go ahead and be the facilitator of all those transactions. You could get very confused out there very quickly, especially during the bull market speculation, because at the end of the day, you have to take a look in the mirror and understand whether or not you are an expert technical analyst, whether or not you are an expert trader and investor or not. You have to be real with yourself and understand that, yeah, well, you know what? Maybe there is a degree of luck being in the bull market phase over here on some of these trades on things. Maybe before the market humbles me, I should really have that, a talk with myself and make sure I remain calm, make sure I am using the precision that CTM offers to take advantage of the last half of this bull market. Is Bitcoin cheap at 55,000? Have you really been able to grasp that and understand that? Because the numbers we're going to be looking at on the upside. Listen, if it's only 160,000, everyone here could go, wash their hands and been like, I did it. I did everything that I was supposed to do, right? But then when we're talking about if we just hit the last pace of the 2017 bull market over here, and we have a 17x, that puts the price of Bitcoin at 342,000. Do I think that the stock to flow is only going to overshoot by $70,000? Well, that's not what it has a history of doing. It has a history of overshooting much more than that. 288,000 stock to flow price. Are we looking at something maybe not in between a 28x, from the 39x of cycle 1 to, average of 17.5x of cycle 2? Does it, forget 28. What happens if you have a 25x or lower? A 20x, you're talking some big numbers over there. We don't need to focus on the numbers. And if you've noticed, like I focused on the numbers a year and a half ago, pointing out, if we saw diminishing returns, at that point, we're looking at $160,000 Bitcoin. Make sure at 140,000, you achieved your goals. And then after, that's totally wrong. We're seeing increasing returns and a shorter cycle, right? And then at that point, we don't need to focus on the numbers. We have the video talking about, that sweet spot, that sweet zone we put out. What is it? Between like 280 and 450,000, whatever it is. If you want to follow the numbers and see, but that's not what, as a trader, what we want to focus on is the numbers. And when I'm talking about the numbers on Bitcoin, I mean also with Ethereum, also with Cardano. Is Cardano going to 2? That's the questions out there. I mean, listen, it's going much higher and 2 might be low. Who knows where it's going, but I do know it's going to peak after Bitcoin peaks over here. And I know if I follow with precision accuracy the bull of all bulls over here, that I'll be there to track every other altcoin's exit just as we got them in ahead of everyone as well. So that's what we're doing over here. CTM right now in season 1 is focused on the rest of this move over here, ending somewhere around June the 14th and or before. We'll be watching the price action together. Ian, so grateful for all this work that you continue to put out there and share with us. I know that we're getting you on Twitter. I'll be retweeting your tweet so people can start following us over here. This is what we'll be looking at later, the rocket ship. This is hold on one second. The rocket ship is this one. I just want everyone to be on the same page. Like, this is the rocket ship area, right? And as we get close to that, that's season 3, right? Into the peak. As we get there, we'll make sure that we continue to focus in on that. That's this chart right over here. All right, so what else? What else? Here's where we are today. This is where we are today, right? How long it took us last time? 3 days, 4 days to get back towards that all-time high, not making the all-time high. That was a V, and then you see price came off a little bit. It took 20 days for the all-time high to come out, and then another 26 days over here to put in that big move. We're going to continue as things rhyme to make sure. And here's just a look. As things rhyme, we're going to make sure that we continue to track these moves. Here is an exit on the at Bitcoin when it's time to position into altcoins. Again, as Bitcoin will be the tides going out, the sinking ship, or the tide going out that sinks all ships in the bear market. We have that precision entry point to look forward to together. Elon. Let's talk. This article is not about Tesla selling a portion of their Bitcoin, 10% of their Bitcoin to prove liquidity. What's Tesla's next move, by the way? Is it to buy Bitcoin or sell more Bitcoin? That will be interesting to see. But this talks about how Elon has just been incredibly smart, the way that he structured Tesla, basically to keep going up. How the New York Times back in 2018 were talking about how all of those markers were just absolutely impossible to reach. He since reached them all. Tesla has always had these disbelievers. That will continue. Look, but I wanted to talk more about Tesla, but I'm going to pause for 1 second just to talk about what's going on here. As you're looking at Coinbase, and you're looking at an enormous amount of Bitcoin leaving the exchanges. I mean, this is clear evidence that this is, when we say that this cycle is different, this is different in this cycle, seeing during this bull market portion of the phase, to seeing all of this Bitcoin leaving exchanges. You're looking at Coinbase alone. Here's all exchanges over here. By the way, where's BlockFi? Because BlockFi is increasing in Bitcoin. See, that's not right. They don't have BlockFi up here. You know, I would like to see BlockFi up here, because BlockFi and Celsius, you know, I would like to see their Bitcoin holdings and Ethereum holdings, which are increasing. So anyway, but you know, that aside, yeah, we're still looking at something that's definitely different, noticeably different. Is that different enough to change the 4-year cycle? Well, I don't think so. Even with all that Bitcoin coming off the exchanges, there's not did you see like Swan Bitcoin didn't have Bitcoin? So Swan Bitcoin is not even something to consider, right? There should be no Bitcoin shortages out there. Anyone who wants to buy Bitcoin, it's instantaneously. And if you're not, do consider BlockFi. I use BlockFi for all my purchases, super easy. People are saying, listen, they're raising rates now. People last month had a problem when they were lowering rates, right? Look, that shows that they're in trouble. Now they're raising rates, and people still have a problem with. I don't really understand it, but I do like their service. These guys have been around, for over a 4-year cycle. They've managed their risk well, continued to do. Always be careful. Always understand your risk. If you're collecting 5% on less than a half of Bitcoin, understand that Bitcoin is being lent out. And you don't know what type of risks those funds are taking with your Bitcoin. There is the possibility to lose it. All as you have to, up until today, they have not done that, and it continues to be a play. Their last round, what was their last round? $350 million. Or were they valued at a $3 billion company? I'm a fan. I continue to use them. What else? This is signal to me. Was Tesla selling 10% of their Bitcoin holding, taking a nice profit, more profit than they ever made, by the way, in selling cars or any other product, right? And then proving to their shareholders that, you know what, this is a liquid market. It makes much more sense than holding dollars on our balance sheet to hold this appreciating asset that we have access to at any time. Venmo, we talked about this a week ago. Now Michael Saylor is talking about 70 million users now have access to Bitcoin. It puts pressure on Apple, Google, and Facebook to integrate Bitcoin into their mobile applications. Facebook is getting ready to launch their program, the Diem? It's no longer the Libra, the Diem. Now instead of a basket of currencies, including like the pound and the euro, it'll just be dollar-based. Right? Because what? They bought him before Congress, before the lawmakers, and they're like, you can't do that. We have to protect our monopoly. You cannot bring Satoshi inside. You can't do that. It's decentralized. 70 million users. Now, that's signal to me. That's huge signal. Is this signal? No, this is an observation. I understand that there's Bitcoin leaving exchanges this cycle. It's different than other cycles. Does that mean that this cycle is different? No. That means that there's an anomaly happening within the cycle. Could you please put up BlockFi and could you put up Celsius so we could see how much Bitcoin they're rising, that they're gaining? That would be interesting too if we want to look at what's going on. Alan, right? Alan AU on Twitter. The gaming company Nexon. I thought, is it a gaming company, huh? I thought they made cameras when I was little. So listen, they took 2% of their cash reserves, $100 million, right? And they bought Bitcoin at an average of $58,000, adding it to their balance sheet. This is absolutely enormous. It's a small position. 2% of their cash reserves. It was just $100 million. You get 100 companies. you get, 100 companies doing the same thing over here, and then others, taking a 5-10% position, and all of a sudden you could see where all this money is coming from in order to hit some dizzying levels that we're talking about, come September 21st. And that's what we continue to track and monitor, Where else are we as we continue with the flow over here? I feel like I should drop some head snack. I don't know if I have him lined up or not. Elon Musk, listen to this tweet. Long-term people will think Tesla as an AI robotics company as much as a car company or engine company. I think we're developing one of the strongest hardware and software AI teams in the world, right? And not only that, look at this mind, look how he thinks. Not only that, he has Bitcoin on his balance sheet to fund all of this. It doesn't even matter if Tesla could sell cars or not. They own Bitcoin. Do you understand that? Nexon does. Nexon now understands it doesn't matter what happens in the future. They took a 2% position and now are protected, and that is signal. That's what we continue to look at over here. Jack, what are you showing over here? I'm not sure. Either which way. Listen, just to clarify on Ian's, the bull of all bulls chart, people are looking at it and saying it doesn't line up to the halving tracker. It's slightly off what's going on. What Ian is doing, right, is using the first time that price makes the all-time high on the previous cycle. Let me jump over to it. This is the first time price makes the all-time high from the previous cycle. When we took out the 2017 December 19,650 high over here on November 30th, 2020, that's where this starts. And you could see that we get, when we line up the past cycles off their all-time high as well, you could see that self-luminosity. May God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you for each and every one of you being here each and every day, working together to do extraordinary things together. A big thumbs up and like for you, So anyway, because Ian's chart is CTM all day long. That's why I like Ian's chart. But, and you're looking here at whether it's in green, when price took out the $29 on February 19th, 2013 high, all-time high, and then again in 2017, same thing, when it took out on February 22nd, when it took out the all-time high of $1,151. And they line up giving us this symmetry that we see. So look, you can line it up. Charts Bitcoin was the first one that I know of to do this. He also lined it up using the cycle low, the bear market low, the high of the bear markets from the halving date itself. He sliced the 4-year cycle each and every way possible, and charts BTC, a big shout out again. When we first started the Bitcoin playlist, a lot of his charts were, absolutely legendary, helping us work out everything, helping us see that 4-year cycle crystal clear, having the cheat sheet before everyone else, and being there to continue to position accordingly. So great stuff, happening over there. And I love so now what he's doing, he's right 8 all-time high tracker to help people who are confused to understand that and see why. And now we all see it and understand why. I wish I could have played the technical strategist giving her expert analysis of what she thinks happens and why across the equity market. I don't know why we're not on Market Watch. I don't know why we're not on Market Watch, but either which way, we're here every morning together doing what needs to be done. What else? What haven't we covered over here? I don't have head snack up. I want to drop. Here we go. Oh, I don't have the volume. I don't know what's going on, but the volume is not working. And again, I have to do an uninstall and restart. I'll do that. At least we had the tunes coming in. That means we're not going to have the tunes going out today. That means we're not going to have honeymoon vocals on the way out today on this episode 3 of season 1. But we put in a really solid session. What else are we looking at today? Are options expiring? Listen, Joseph is asking. It's a very important question. Something that we've been for about 2 weeks now looking at as a possible catalyst for some pressure on Bitcoin. It's something that as soon as it passes, it's out of the way. The last time it wasn't effective was in December. Here's December. Now, this was Christmas week, right? So a lot of traders obviously not at their desks Christmas week. And you could see that week price consolidated sideways a little bit, didn't do anything. It didn't have a pullback. But every other coming into the end of the month, we've seen pullbacks on Bitcoin without fail, right? Now, if we look at what's happened technically over here as we're Wednesday morning, 2 days away from these options expiring, this looks incredibly bullish. Price, let me come down to my Bitstamp chart, and price looks incredibly bullish, having first made the first repair. As price broke this trend line over here, that was the first indication this was reversing. It was the first time that price made a higher high on the daily time frame. We made sure everyone was ready to attack, lining that up as the predators we are. And then we had the second breakout of the trend line over here, the second repair. This has brought us back to uber bullish, a healthy looking market over here. We haven't resumed out of it. And if that happens, right, obviously, well, it's another notch you could check off. Things are looking even better right now. We're looking at this area over here. What's price going to come as it comes back towards 62,500? That first exit, by the way. When is that? How's that going to look, right? Are we going to come down before Friday and break below this trend? It's possible. We have the trend line. We know if we break that trend line, we could go down even further. So that's where we are. That's where we are. Yeah, so is it next week that they're going to be offering the E-mini futures on Bitcoin? 5-to-1 is extreme leverage as the Bitcoin futures stand right now. That is not lightly leveraged. That is heavily leveraged using 5 times leverage. Now they'll be offering micro Bitcoin futures. And it's great because now you could be more, creative with your money management. So that's a really good product. I think it's going to help a lot of people. Jade bringing up max pain is 54,000 for options expiry. What that means is that whether people have again and just the preference, just so you know, as I lean in and talk about technicals, I've never traded an option in my life. Why? Because I'm not an expert. I don't understand how to price them. When you're going up against experts competing for money, you better be an expert. Otherwise, you're going to... So, listen, that's not what I do, right? But whether you're looking to make money on the long side or the short side, at 54,000, if that's where they expire, it would hurt the most people losing money. So that's often that's what markets do. They bring upon max pain. That would have us, by the way, right where we are now, trading at 54,762. Is it possible we go sideways for the next 2 days, for the next 48 hours? I mean, we have our levels. That's all I could say. Resume out, breaking above there. We resume out of the breakout, retest, resumption. Until then, we're in no man's land right now. Could we put another 2 sessions in there? I mean, it's what we're watching. Again, I'm trying to bring everyone's focus today to this. And I'm trying to, from where we are today, right where my mouse is, the third day after putting in that big candle below, not yet taking out that V recovery, making that into the melt your face off. And this is the rest of the bull market phase. We got this wave, season 1. We have season 2 wave, and then season 3 wave into the peak. I want everyone to be focused on this because this is signal, right? And then we could break it down even further and say this is where we are right now, and this is season 1. This is where we're focused on and making sure that we're able to watch what happens over here. And whether or not we put up another resistance level or not, we're going to making sure that our timing is as best as it's going to be, making sure that we're able to crush that. When we start talking about what's happening over the next 48 hours, listen, I want you to know, because there are a lot of people consulting these technical strategists out there, calling for the equity markets to move into a risk-off move, taking Bitcoin down to $4,200 in the next 48 hours. But if you're going to consult someone who has a history of getting it right, well, this is what our game, this is our base case for the next 48 hours. That's bringing it down to a really short time frame. I want to bring your time frame up to this and then to this so that you get it right. And you make sure that you're not only participating, but that you are doing extraordinary things. Because I know Xcoin is doing or just did that yesterday and will do that tomorrow. It's all because of this. And if you get this right, lightly leveraged, forget about it. Head exploding. Stefano, thank you each and every day for everything you offer, making this community so special. I am so grateful for you. And when I say you, everyone who goes ahead and puts themselves into this, helping us to do what we do. So Nixon, Andre, I don't know. Thank you. Forgive my pronunciations. I knew this morning when I was first thinking about it, I just knew that, like, wow, that's going to be a tough one. They should make a meme about it. Thank you. I saw Brandon, by the way, Brandon beginning with my daughter in the room of Brandon's Crypto Trades and Tech episode yesterday. And he just started, I had no idea. The Google algorithm was showing it to me. I pressed play on the Apple TV and he's like, listen, let's everyone be honest. Who here would still be in Bitcoin if it wasn't for Jordan? And he's like, me, myself, I know that I wouldn't be. I know that I would have sold down over here, and I would have sold over here, and I would have sold over here, and even just what he did, thank you so much for that, Brandon. I really appreciate that. And but I just feel blessed. I'm grateful that for whatever reason that we're able to see the markets the way that we see them, be able to work together to make sure that the amount of people conquering the markets is touching is absolutely extraordinary, and I'm grateful to be a part of it with all of you. 900 likes. If you haven't yet liked this episode over here and you're still watching, we do have 1,800 people here watching. Go ahead and fire that thing up. Make the extra effort, as I do, to spend that time with you. Even if you all remember, right? If you, going back 2 weeks ago, I was running a fever all week long, making sure that we were here every day to stay that hyper-focused, because that's what it's all about over here. Is making sure we get this right. And we were there from the very beginning. Everyone all of a sudden is an expert. But and don't forget how difficult it was when Brandon was talking about things that were happening. It was, remember at 19,000, looking for that pullback, and when the pullback was only 16, 17% and then recovered, I said, risk is to the upside. Risk, that was the pullback. It wasn't as deep as I expected. And now the risk is to the upside, making sure everyone is fully positioned and more as we made that next big epic. That's when people were telling you we were going to see diminishing returns in Bitcoin. Like nuclear physicists telling you, listen, you're going to see diminishing returns because of this rainbow graph, right? Can you imagine how being on the wrong side of the market, how important it is to be on the right side of the markets at the right time? Right? What is 100? That's just suicide. That's gambling. I don't know how much money Binance makes, but listen, if you want to be, a participant in that, you can invest in BNB, their token. Probably a lot better than Coinbase is, who is, they're taking a portion of their profits quarterly. They're buying their token and then they're burning it. Beautiful. Binance, I'm a big fan. I've always been. We'll shorten the bear market. You got to watch the phenomenal work we do together in the training sessions. By the way, everyone asks, in the description below, if you click on the description in each and every video, you'll see the link to the Conquering the Markets training program to be involved on the Discord, which is just absolutely extraordinary. I always tip my hat to all of you, but listen, if you're trading the markets, if you're watching this video and you're not plugged into the community on Discord, you're just missing out. It's that simple. If it costs next to nothing, the resource is absolutely invaluable on so many different levels. It's the best there is. It's the best there out there. No question about that. Stefan was talking about trading the CME futures. The CME futures is 5 times leverage. It's too much. It's way too much. You should not be interested in taking out a position using 5 times leverage, Stefan. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. That's dangerous. Absolutely. My cash CCF. Absolutely. My pleasure. Right? So what else are we looking at? Thank you, Jan, for smashing that like button, keeping the flow going over here. I wish we could play some music. We don't have, for whatever reason, we don't have access to the tunes. Listen, what else? Install drivers, restart, and hopefully we get it. But we got, could the V become Magnus? Great question. Could the V recovery become a W? Is it for certain just because we saw that in the first cycle and the second cycle and that had the potential this cycle for this to occur? By the way, we had no idea that it was going to occur. There's no way. We cannot predict the future at any time. Do not get confused. We just have a cheat sheet. That's all. It's just a cheat sheet. It's a guide. That's why we're so hyper focused each and every day following price and price action. We have no idea what happens next. It's not a given that we see a V play only on the first and second cycle at this particular time, this many days after price made the new all-time high, it put in a V shape. Looking at a halving tracker, by the way, is different than looking at this over here on the log scale. Here's the V. Are we going to see the V? We don't know that it's going to be a V. We give it a high degree of probability that it will be. A very high probability. There's a good, percentage that says that there's a good indication that the outcome is going to be. Is it possible it looks like something else? Yep, for sure. We don't know that. All we know, as we jump over into real time and we look at the chart, all we could say is, listen, we so far have a breakout of that last final trend line. We have an uber bullish market over here. We have the breakout. We have the first retest. It doesn't mean we don't see a second retest, but as long as we hold this trend line over here, this is very bullish. And once price takes out that swing high, it should be off to the races. That's how you can manage your risk and make sure everything continues to be on time or not, right? If something happens, if you get a technical breakdown, then you got to lighten up your position. You're no longer uber bullish, and you have to wait, and you have to wait, and you have to wait until that repair takes place, and then be there to position in and make sure that you're participating when it matters the most. There was another view I wanted to look at over here. Now you're looking at the linear chart over here. If you're focused on this, it gets confusing, right? It's hard to see those V shapes looking at this alone. This is the reason Ian did this over here, is that we could see those last 30, 40 days over here, the last move, season 3, so that we're able to see how enormous those. You're going from a 10x to a 40x, right? In a matter of 30, 40 days. You're going over here from probably something like a 5x to an 18x, a 17x. In a matter of 30, 40 days. We'll see we'll see how this one plays out, but this is going to be, if you're not prepared for it, the FOMO is going to be massive. It's going to be incredible. If you listen to my boy Matt Odell, on Tales from the Crypt, as he's having his whiskey on a Thursday doing the weekly recap, he's going to be telling you Bitcoin's going to, he's going to say, I can't take it. I have so much FOMO. I feel like back when Bitcoin was trading at 19,000 in 2017, and I was just like, forget it. It's going to the moon this time. People, you have to be real with yourself and understand your limitations and your knowledge base. A lot of people right now, as we're in the midst of the bull of all bulls, as we're in alt season, by the way, we told you about it over a year before when it was going to happen. As it was unfolding in that November, December, the videos on the channel, all season's beginning now. Getting you on signal at the precise time, just as I will get you out of all season at the precise time. But now all of a sudden, everyone's out there and they're like, yeah. Again, I've been consistent. You have to follow those who have a history of getting it right and consult them to form your own opinions. If you don't spend the time that it warrants and deserves to ride the bull of all bulls, you have no idea. You have no idea. As most people don't. And does it warrant a phone call today, as Bitcoin is trading at $55,000, to be like, listen, this is your last chance for this cycle. For this cycle, we're talking less than 5 months of where we're looking at Bitcoin over here peaking. 3 waves. Let me show the waves. This is the chart. Where's the chart I wanted to show you? Yeah, here we are. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 to close out the last half of the Bitcoin bull market bull phase. Season 1, season 2, season 3. We're going to be there and we're going to crush this. We're going to be exiting at the top. We're going to be getting it right. The question comes up, what's going on, Jordan? Listen, the only problem with the exit strategy, which by the way is great, is that exchanges and off-ramps are going to be failing or heavily restricted. No, they're not. First of all, does Coinbase go down? Yes. Should you have backups of multiple exchanges? Yeah, I told you that 6 months ago. Make sure that you have multiple on and off ramps, right? Are you able to exit whatever platform you're using into a stable coin? Taxable event, by the way, right? Right away, no problem. And then be able, with ease and patience and time, take that money off the exchanges? Of course. Have multiple on and off ramps. Do that now. Don't do that at the top, by the way. Don't do that up here. Try to get those work it out now. Make sure that you've wired in funds. Make sure that you withdraw funds. BlockFi, by the way, a go-to for myself. Super easy. The easiest way to wire money in, purchase Bitcoin, and to wire it out. Usually within 48 hours. Oh, but Jordan, they make me confirm my identity. Oh, what? They have good security? Great that they do facial recognition for a withdrawal. Great that you whitelist addresses and that it would take you a week to be able to withdraw money from there, just in case your account was compromised. You have a week to get it back. Listen, anyway, here we are right now. Bitcoin 54,718. We made it to to 1,000 likes. So when I see stuff like this, thank you so much, Scott. It's an absolute blessing for myself. It's an absolute blessing and a grace. Did you say exit Bitcoin at 62,000? No, I did not. No, there's no way I said anything about exiting Bitcoin at 62,000. What I was saying, Jason, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. It is good that you're here. You're new to the channel, so that's good. Listen, it does take a bit of commitment on your part. We put out Monday through Friday each and every day an hour video. Sometimes an hour and a half, but you have to commit. You have to stay laser focused and understand what's going on. When I talk about 62,500, what I'm saying is, and if you look at the first in 2017, here, this is live. Yeah, this is 2017. This is the pullback. This is what you're looking at right here, right? When price was making this V right over here in 2017, that's this right here. Last time it took 3 days to recover, right? That would be the equivalent of 62,500 today. It didn't make the all-time high. It came into the resistance right below it and then backed off. And it actually took 20 days from the low to make the all-time high and go up. So when I talk about 62,500, what I'm saying is, after we make the resumption, getting above right now, that's coming in around 55,750. Getting above that area is the next step into the resistance. I said 62,500 to keep it simple. Is it 61,700? Whatever. In the area over here, and then is that where we back off before over the next week making the new all-time? Maybe that would just be normal price behavior. We'll be watching it. We'll see how we blow through resistance and what happens and what's what. I mean, that's what we do daily. But sell your Bitcoin there? Oh, no way. No way. Where you're looking to sell Bitcoin next, if you're following what we continue to do, right? It's strategy number 3, experts only. Strategy number 3 on how to trade Bitcoin in the bull market phase. If you haven't watched it, it's on the Bitcoin 4-year playlist on this channel. 3 ways to trade Bitcoin. Strategy number 3, the most advanced, taking profits along the way up, and we're fine-tuning exactly how we get that profits. If you're from the last 30% pullback, by the way, from the last 30% pullback down over here, if you're positioned in and you're looking for 150%, gain off of here to exit Bitcoin strategy number 3, that takes you somewhere around $75,000, right? We're looking at $75,000, $80,000 on this next push over here that we're into right now on season 1. So, if you're following it from strategy number 3, when that video was put out back in October 31st, 3 ways to trade the Bitcoin bull market, that's where you would be exiting Bitcoin. Perhaps we're able to zero in and focus in a lot tighter now, right? That's the equivalent of the end of season 1. Whether or not that's 75,000, and I've shown you like between 150%, that's the earliest. 170% is that sweet spot. It looks like 170% is going to get us towards that take profit area of $80,000 that we're looking at. When I say that now, we're going to get it at the top as we get over to this top of this next wave, but it would be working out equally as well if that's when you took profit using strategy number 3. We're able to focus in now a lot tighter. Season 1, right? We know it looks like by the 14th of June, we're making that exit. We're putting in that high. We'll see where price is at that point and get out, and then set up for season 2, scaling back in, right? Making sure if price makes a higher high before then that you're fully positioned, not to get left behind. That's where the risk is. We'll play it all together. That's what we do. I wish we had some music to go out with. We don't have any honey moves. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Alan. Every day out here, giving everything that we can to make sure that we take as many people with us. Grateful for each and every one of you. It's amazing to me. There was a training session it was on the log scale charts. When we put out the video of using the log scale right here, Bitcoin exit plans, log scale charts. And at the beginning of this video, I talk about how important it is that we all work together to stay on the most important trade that matters, and how conquering the markets as a collective, when we're looking at Patrick's log chart, Will's log chart, right? And everyone, Adam's chart as well, and everyone working together. And now we have Ian, family Randall, with working together with his wife, putting out these charts for us over here. This is what's beautiful to me, that we've created it. And whether or not, and I can't even point to, whether it's Giles in the morning, or everyone in each and every, or if it's Greg posting the daily video and good morning inside Discord, all together is what makes it so special. And I'm thankful that it is quality over quantity. The type of person that's attracted to this community, to this environment, they're just absolutely extraordinary. They're exceptional, and it is my honor to be a part of it and share it with all of you. So we don't have any music to go out with, but we do have me to say thank you for sharing this time with me. May God bless you, and I'll see you all in the morning.